welcome to the Wednesday, February 4th, Ridgecrest City Council meeting. If we can have a roll call.
Yes, sir. Mayor Endicott.
Present.
Mr. Blades.
Present.
Mr. Heyman.
Present.
Mr. Gorman.
Present.
We have four present, excuse me, with Mr. Rajaratnam excused absence.
All right, next, if I can have an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call.
Yes, sir. Mayor Endicott.
Aye.
Mr. Blades.
Aye.
Mr. Heyman.
Aye.
Mr. Gorman.
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries.
Okay, next we have a discussion and action item, approval of counseling service agreement with Mr. Ron Strand to assist as needed with groundwater adjudication and upcoming mediation.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Council Member. The city manager and I will team up on this. I'll open and I'll let him bring it home. As the council knows, Mr. Strand has lived, breathed, and drank the GSA and the Mojave litigation. He has the chronology, the experience, and knowledge of all of the matters that are important. We're about to go into mediation on this, and from the legal team, we are asking the council to approve a contract with Mr. Strand for consulting services related solely to the water right litigations. With that, I'll hand it over to the acting city manager.
Thank you. Good evening, Council, Mayor. To further iterate what our Attorney Martin has said is I have been in this valley since 2010. I was not part of any of the existing litigation up until I came to the city. I think there is an absolute value to having the chronology and having the history when we get into mediation. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know the chronology. I've done as much research as I can, but I think it's absolutely imperative that we make the best decision for the city during mediation, and I think his knowledge is an integral part to us being prepared to make this decision. And lastly, like I said, this is an effort to be transparent. This contract, the amount, we have consulting services in the budget that is approved. I'm bringing this before you guys and this so all the public understands and knows what this is for.
The contract could have been signed without
Correct.
council authority.
Okay.
So,
Okay, can you guys also explain why we wanted to do it early?
correct. So the code states that open session starts at 6 p.m. This is brought forward as a special open session because of the timing of it. We would like to see Mr. Strand be involved with our closed session discussion and preparation for mediation, and we want to preserve attorney-client privilege with that.
Okay.
All right, are there any questions from the council?
I think if indeed all the individual sessions I've had over the last 3 years with Ron has been on this issue. So because we were at variance with regard to many elements around this issue, my friend Ron Strand would slide to the floor in stupefaction if I voted yes on this. So know that my preference is no, let's not. It shows a slight obliviousness on our part bringing this up right now, and I don't think it's necessary. Also, I must admit to my Pollyannic naivete with regard to what mediation involved. I thought it was some sagacious judge who was pure of heart would call in the two parties that have been at each other's throats over the years, and that is the Groundwater Authority and the Water District. Indeed, their tone has been acrimonious and in some cases insulting. And when I heard that somebody had the idea of calling in a mediator just to make people understand the other side a little better, or let them talk while you listened and cross-examined them. I was hopeful. I think that's wonderful. But I get the impression now this mediation is a big, cumbersome, complex, legally written thing. It's become much bigger. And I don't see how that happened. Frankly, I don't see how Keith Martin or any of the legal team should even be involved, much just the facilitating judge. And I suppose that's naivete, and everybody would provide me with a good answer. So in this case, I think that the best person out of the city manager's office to be involved in mediation would be the guy who's a hydrologist and who knows the words and the vocabulary and what wells are at what levels and all that good stuff, and that's Travis Reed. So, for that reason, I'll back away from this with affection. And Ron's still in his seat. God bless you, Ron. That's all.
Mayor, may I respond?
Yes.
Briefly. And just for the record, I'm also a certified mediator. I've mediated cases. Mediation has many, many forms. What you describe, council member, is usually mediation that happens in family court or in disputes that are personal in nature, where a mediator will sit down with each party and try to resolve the conflict. There are also mediations. The guy who taught me used to fly to Dubai and mediate oil disputes among Princetons, or which were lasted months. So mediation is simply a method by which a third-party neutral tried to bring a resolution to a conflict, whatever that conflict is. It could be family, and it could be nations. It depends. In this particular instance, there are several parties that are still in this adjudication. And they all will be there. They all will be represented by counsel. They all will have experts and members of their teams, which have the history, the chronology, and the knowledge, which will be shared with the mediator. We give mediator the tools. The mediator takes those tools and tries to work out a solution that will satisfy everybody, so everybody can leave equally unhappy. If everybody leaves equally unhappy, the mediator did a good job. But in our opinion and on our legal side, we would be cutting our arm off if Ron wasn't available and present to work with the legal team during the mediation and in preparation for mediation. Closed session will follow this item, whatever the outcome of it is. If the council provides the contract, approves the contract, Ron will join us in closed session. That is why this item was brought a little bit earlier. Thank you, and Mayor and council members.
Any other council members have?
Sure. Well, I think you said it, Skip. I think that Travis is the best dude to have there. And I'm glad we have Travis on the team. When Ron was retiring, it was said multiple times, and I think not just by you, but also by Ron, and I think many of us on the council can attest to, he purposely kept you away from water. That wasn't and I remember even having conversations with Ron about water, which we talked about at least once a week, and it was always a healthy debate back and forth on me asking the same old questions back and forth usually. But you are the best guy to have there, and I'm glad you're there as a city manager. I'm equally glad the staff is like, hey, we see a reason to bring somebody back that's going to be a historical reference for us, but you're calling the shots as a city manager. And I want you to understand, Travis, especially how much faith we have in you to usher this through. I see a call back to Ron as just a smart thing. It's like any other consultant or any number of consultants we've hired over the years. It's logical. Also, as you stated, Skip, it is complex. It is a complex scenario. So the more data you can draw on, the more of a logical scenario. I don't think it is, Pollyanna of you. I think that we all hoped in the beginning, because it was said multiple times, like, hey, this, we're filing an adjudication. But don't worry, that adjudication, we're gonna all come to the table and we're gonna figure that out. And that was in 2021. And so here we are, roughly 10 to $12 million later, just now approaching a mediation, which I hope the best for. I hope the best for, and I think we have a good legal team. They've proven that out. We have a good staff. And so Ron having a callback, being able to have that attorney-client privilege just makes logical sense to me. But thank you, Travis, for being there. And I think your fresh approach already, just in our conversation since you took the seat, has been healthy. I think that your very optimistic outlook. You're already looking for different solutions, different scenarios. You have different relationships. All of that is nothing but a positive, great thing for the city. So just know I have my full faith in you. Us approving a contract for Ron has nothing to do with that.
Thank you, Mark, for giving an explanation on that. I think that was well said. So yes, the other entities that are involved with the mediation are going to be bringing their A game to this mediation. They'll have their best attorneys. They'll have their best members that have been associated with the water issue and with the most experience. This is my 8th year going on city council. And there's been 3 mayors and multiple different council members. There's been one, Ron Strand, who has been with this issue from day one. I agree that Travis has been a huge asset to being city manager, but also knowing his geology or his geological background and engineering background. He's a tremendous asset. Ron brings an experience of bringing all the different parts and the different aspects of this mediation and an understanding of the city's needs, the relationship with the Navy, the county. He brings a tremendous amount of experience. For us to pass that up would be foolish. I can tell you that right now. So without a doubt, I think it's a wise decision to, and for the amount of money and average, the cost, it's a much cheaper cost when you look at what all these other folks charge for their expertise. It's extremely expensive. So we have someone who can fill that spot for us and be an asset. So without any further explanation, I think it's a definite on my end. So
I have one more question. So is Ron okay with this?
sitting here.
So I've had numerous conversations with Ron. I think Ron is here because he wants to see what's best for the city. In my 5 years of working under him, I've always felt like he's pushed to that direction. And in my conversation with him, he is willing to give up his valuable retirement time to come aid the city in any endeavor it needs. So yes, I think he is okay with it.
I don't know, he looked pretty happy at his retirement.
All right, so a couple questions from me. What are the responsibilities and duties as a consultant? What is he expected to do during mediation? What can he and can he not do as a consultant?
As a consultant, a member of the team, he is a tool, the tool to be used by city manager and the legal team. I think mediation involves a lot of one-on-one with the mediator. Most of the time, the party, after initial session, are separated into different rooms, and the mediator does, traveling diplomacy, going from room to room. In those rooms, the mediator wants to have all the details, all the information, everything that's pertinent. The other side may bring up an issue. Well, 3 years ago, this and this happened, and they said this and this. Well, Ron is the person who has been on this issue since the beginning, and also being Ron, Ron knows and remembers. He has a good memory. He has a good understanding of what's going on, obviously, and he will be able to, as needed, to interject and provide information, clarity, If he's asked for his opinion on an issue, then he's free to provide it. But the main role is the continuity, the fact that he's been involved in this matter from beginning till the day he retired, and very, very involved, very hands-on. So he has the knowledge, he has the chronology, and that tool can be used by the city team in informing the mediator and assisting the mediator in bringing the parties to a resolution.
And is there any issue or complexity with him just having retired? There's no, any type of hindrance to, like, this resets a clock or anything for being employed again by the city?
There are two issues that we looked at which pertain to this. One is called a revolving door. In other words, can you represent the other side in front of the council? This is not what's happening here. He's been consultant for the city. The other one is obviously PERS. He is not coming in the role of a city manager. And that is what he was for the last 8 years of his career with the city. So as far as PERS are concerned, this is not an end around to, if the city was hiring him to be an acting city manager while something else was going on, that's a whole different thing. Then the 960 kicks in and we have to get the blessing of PERS and all the other hoops that we need to jump through. This is not the case. He's here as a litigation consultant for his knowledge of the case, not for him being a city manager for the city.
And I think just to further that, I want council to, I am not afraid of making a decision. Nor do I think Ron, I think you guys saw that with my public works experience, with how I've done things. Not afraid of making a decision, not afraid of working with whomever the delegate is that council comes up with and working with them to come what we feel is the best solution for mediation or for the valley or whatever that entails in mediation. I just don't want to go in and have something come up that we are not prepared for and we can't garner multiple points of view on. I think it's in the best, I think the best case that we could have is we don't need Ron in mediation, but I can't guarantee that. And for me to go into something knowing that I feel like I've not being 100% prepared, I feel that is a disservice to the city. I feel that's a disservice to this community. So.
And just to be clear, any result, if there is a result, will be brought back. And you know, this is not Travis is not going to make a decision on behalf of the city. Correct. In regard to this litigation. So everything that, if there is something that is being proposed, there's a mediator's proposal or some type of a resolution that all parties agree to consider, this item will come back to you and you will have an opportunity to give us your thoughts and direction on this.
Okay. Any other council comments? Are there any members of the public that wish to comment?
Yes, Mike Hill. So I need to get one thing cleared up, if I may, Mr. Mayor. Who exactly is going to be at the table or in the room during the mediation from here from the city?
We have not decided that yet.
So anybody here could be there. Is that what you're saying? It could be any of you council guys, it could be Travis, it could be, now you want Ron. What? No answers.
Well, no, we haven't decided.
Just to jump in and answer you, there's the Brown Act limitations, how many councilmen can be there.
Sure. That doesn't answer anything. Okay, never mind. So you know, what I'm hearing here is you're talking like you're gonna feel like somebody threw you in the lake with a lead weight tied to your ankles if you don't have Ron in the room and during mediation. And yet we got the city attorney who's been involved in this from day one. Mr. Heyman has only been on the J board for almost 8 years. He ought to know something Mr. Reed worked for the water district, so, and he's already been referred to as having hydrological background. I don't know how thorough that is. This issue is not that hard. The people that you have available, and certainly Keith Lemieux, and no doubt he's got Phil Hall backing him up now that Hall works for him in his law firm. They know every bit as much, if not maybe more, than Ron knows about this, and they're getting paid to be in there. And you say, well, we think we'd be at a big disadvantage. Well, no, you wouldn't. And I don't really am having a hard time understanding where the need is. And guess what? Just as playing it like I'm just a general member of the public and I'm not a guy who's been up here for 20 years watching all this stuff go on. Somebody told me about this and I had heard about, much of it before. And they said, oh, to pay Ron Strand $150 an hour to sit off in the corner and give high signs or signals or whatever, or be, whisper in his ear and figure out what's going on. I'd say, what's wrong with those people? They want to pay $150 an hour. They went ahead and let the guy retire, and now immediately they want to shove him back into a high-paid consultant position. I'd have been thinking, why don't they just say, why don't you stick around a little longer, Ron? You're getting good money. But here we are, and if you guys can't handle the situation with Mr. Heyman in there, with Mr. Reed in there, with Mr. Lemieux in there, then Ron ain't gonna add anything to that. And it's not needed. And the first 3/4 of what Mr. Kosanowicz, however you say his name, I'm sorry. First 3/4 of what he said earlier basically would sound like a guy who's saying, we can handle mediation. We've been there before. But then he throws the qualifier in at the end. Oh, but we'd be cutting our right arm off if we didn't have Ron in there. Well, I'm sorry, but that just really, I have to just look at that, think about what's being said, and just go, are you kidding? Are you really kidding? You really believe what you're saying in front of the public up here? Because it's all being recorded, and everybody can go back and review it and sit and think and listen to it. So I congratulate Skip for saying he's going to vote no. That's a common sense position. I wish the rest of you would take that same position.
Thank you, Mike. Any other members of the public wish to comment? All right. Seeing none. Roll call.
Need to do a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mayor Endicott,
Aye.
Mr. Blades?
Aye.
Mr. Heyman?
Aye.
Mr. Gorman?
No.
We have 3 ayes, 1 no, 1 absent. Motion does carry.
All right, next we will adjourn to closed session, and we will be back in a bit.
It is, Mayor, if I may, we've probably should advise the public that it is most likely that the meeting will start a
At
little bit
6:15.
later than
Yes.
at 6 o'clock.
And I'll sit out here and let them know also, those that are in the public.
Perfect.
So we will start a regular session. I apologize for the delay of us being in closed session. If I could have you all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do I have anyone that wants to give an invitation?
Sure, I'll make it quick. I am no Solomon Roger Rotnam, but I am a Christian and I do believe in our Lord Jesus Christ. So please join me in prayer. I do ask that, God bless this meeting. God bless everybody in this room. That He takes time out, a very, very busy day, to bless the decisions we're going to make, to put peace on everybody's mind, to bring peace to our lives, and to watch out for law enforcement, of course, and to so that everything we do today matters for the community.
Please be seated.
Yeah.
All right, next we have the attorney report out of closed session.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. One item was discussed in closed session that pertained to water rights litigation. The reportable action out of closed session is that the mayor will be the city's representative in the mediation that's upcoming in February. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have a presentation, the Safely Surrendered Baby Awareness Proclamation. If I can get the rest of the council to meet me at the dais. You will. All right. A proclamation of the City of Ridgecrest, California, Safely Surrendered Baby Awareness Month, whereas the Safely Surrendered Baby Law was created in 2001 with the intent to save the lives of newborn infants at risk of abandonment by encouraging parents or persons with lawful custody to safely surrender the infant within 72 hours of birth with no questions asked. And whereas since 2006, the Safely Surrendered Baby Law has saved 105 infants in Kern County and placed them in loving homes. And whereas in Ridgecrest and throughout Kern County, a newborn baby can be safely surrendered into the hands of any hospital emergency room or fire station staff. And whereas the Safely Surrendered Baby Coalition is led by the Department of Human Services and includes a group of dedicated individuals representing a long list of agencies, nonprofits, hospitals, and stakeholders, including First 5 Kern, the Kern County Fire Department, Bakersfield City Fire Department, Bakersfield Pregnancy Center, Right to Life Kern County, Adventist Health Hospitals, Clinica Sierra Vista, Kern County Healthcare, Kern County Public Health, and Ridgecrest Regional Hospital. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest does hereby proclaim the month of February as Safely Surrendered Baby Awareness Month and encourages all Ridgecrest citizens to reach out and assist the Safely Surrendered Baby Coalition with their endeavors. Presented this 4th day of February by myself and council.
Hello, everyone. My name is Judy Bernard, and I am the director of the Ridgecrest Pregnancy Care Center. And I just wanted to say, on behalf of the Safely Surrendered Baby Coalition, thank you for recognizing and supporting the Safe Surrender Law with this proclamation. We are deeply grateful for your partnership in raising awareness about this life-saving law. Each February, as the mayor stated, our coalition unites to educate the community about the safe surrender option, reminding everyone that there are safe, loving alternatives for parents in crisis. And since this law's enactment in 2001, lives have been saved and the number of infant abandonments has decreased significantly across the state. Sorry, y'all, I've been up since 5 this morning. Locally, as of December 2025, 105 babies have been safely surrendered, as the mayor stated, and given the chance for a brighter future. This progress would not be possible without the commitment of our community leaders, first responders, and advocates like you. Thank you again for standing with us and helping to ensure that every baby has the opportunity to grow up safe, healthy, and loved. Thank you.
You want to give me your phone? You want me to use mine?
Just wherever, all right.
Show the proclamation.
All right. Next, we will move on to public comment of items not on the agenda. Persons wishing to address the council on matters that are within the council's jurisdiction and do not already appear on the agenda may do so at this time. Council will not respond to any public comments, but may provide direction to staff to collect information. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the city council may not act on an item that does not appear on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes. The public comment section of the agenda is limited to a total of 1 hour. Each speaker is asked to provide his or her name.
Good evening. My name is Mike Lasitra, and I want to discuss more issues with the 24 Flock AI-powered surveillance cameras that the city operates that feed information about every vehicle that drives by into a nationwide database. But first, this Saturday at 9 a.m., right here in the City Council chambers, there will be a town hall on the system. All are invited to attend to express their concerns about Flock. Please check out DFlock Ridgecrest, that's DEFLOCK, ridgecrest.org, for links to information on the many issues that Flock brings to our city. Now for some good news. 2 more California cities have shut down their Flock systems. The first one is Los Altos Hills in the Bay Area. They cite data privacy concerns, the same ones that I have brought up before, cost considerations, and overall effectiveness. The council agreed that the system wasn't reducing crime like they had hoped and decided to use the money on other tactics. The other one is Mountain View, also in the Bay Area. They had learned that one of its cameras was accessed by 4 different federal agencies after an investigation. The ATF, the Inspector General for the GSA, 2 Air Force bases, and the Lake Mead Recreation Area. Even though the California law SB 34 and the department's own usage policy prohibits license plate data from being shared with out-of-state agencies, Flock still allows the feature to be enabled in each department settings. It's a trivial mistake to make when a user is performing a search and they may not even realize that they just configured their system to break the law. Their police chief said he lost confidence in Flock for circumventing the protections that they thought were in place and decided to disable the whole system until their city council can decide whether to keep it. I recently received dozens of emails concerning the Flock deployment in Ridgecrest. Thank you, Rika and Sergeant Groves, for them. It was really interesting to see just how hard Flock salespeople push their products. They may have been trained as timeshare salesmen. It looks like the first time Flock interacted with the city was 27th of April, 2023, and only 4 hours later, they are sending over a memorandum of understanding for signature. The MOU is for free access to the database and a taste of things to come. A week later, the city signs it, and immediately they begin pushing the sale with an implementation plan and requests to get on the city council agenda. What's remarkable is how little enthusiasm city employees express. Flock frequently replies to their own messages and checks in when nobody responds. They never give up when it is clearly a priority for them. My question is, would Flock be here if they weren't so relentless? Was this something the city wanted, or was Flock simply not taking no for an answer? Flock is a tech startup funded by venture capital with instructions to expand, corner the market, and then cash out with an IPO. When it came time to discuss dollars and cents, the salesperson brought over cookies to sweeten the deal and offered limited time discounts only if the deal could be made by the end of the month. After the major points are decided, the contract is sent to the city attorney to see if he has any edits. He does have 5 and sends them back. Flock takes a look and approves them all and sends over the final contract ready to sign. However, when the contract is signed a few days later, none of the edits are in there. What happened? They were approved, but no one reread the contract as the city manager signed it. Things don't get better once a deal is made. The tedious work of permitting takes off. At least 11 of the cameras are on private property and need hardware to be constructed on site. Flock normally expects a permit to be pulled for this, but when Sergeant Groves asked about it, he responds, "I don't have permits, LOL." Eventually, Travis Reed steps in and deems that no permits are necessary. That satisfies Flock enough to keep moving, but now they ask for permission from the property owners. One of the property owners is an investment LLC, and it's hard to contact the actual person who owns it. Instead, Sergeant Grove asks if the city can sign instead of the actual owner. So instead of finding a new location where the city actually has permission, but not a permit, to install a camera, they just instead sign for the owner who has no idea what is going on. I hope we can get answers on these issues at the town hall, because everybody I spoke to is very concerned by this. I hope to see many of you right here at 9 a.m. on Saturday to follow up on the many issues that I have highlighted. I have spoken to many residents of Ridgecrest, and they are all very concerned. Please visit deflockridgecrest.org for more information, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have 6 copies here.
The last speaker came over to the shop not too long ago and spent an hour and a half there. We talked about everything but flock.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that's gonna go off for a minute until I get back.
Thank you.
You get alarmed, huh? Overtime, overtime. Grab that guy, drag him out. Okay, what I just had sent out to you was an email dated December 18, 2025, from the CEO of Flock, sent to Officer Groves. Apparently he'd heard about some of the statements made from this podium about their system attacking its constitutionality, and he decided to respond in a us versus them mentality. Let me just read parts of this here. He says, I'm writing you directly because I want there to be zero confusion about what's happened. Then he says Flock's never been happened, blah, blah, blah. He says, we're building tools to help you fight the real crime affecting communities across the country. Many activists don't like that. So let's call it what it is. Flock and the law enforcement agencies we partner with are under coordinated attack. Oh, really? Coordinated attack? Where's he going with this? He says that the attacks aren't new. You've been dealing with this forever, and we've been dealing with this since our founding from the same activist groups. Now catch this. Same activist groups who want to defund the police, weaken public safety, normalize lawlessness. Normalize lawlessness, really? Because we don't like being surveilled 24 hours a day? Said, oh, now they're making YouTube videos with misleading headlines. And here he doesn't like Mr. Lecitra's public records request. Apparently says they're also trying to turn a public records process into a weapon against you and against us. We're fighting this fight for you, and I hope with you, I remain committed to building world-class technology to help keep your community safe, blah, blah, blah. I hope you will keep that, maybe read it a few more times, and digest the rabid public safety paranoia this guy is functioning under. This is the person who's the head of the company who sold this to our town, who's caused all these cameras to be put on our streets everywhere you look. And he claims, because we like our freedom, we like not being surveilled 24 hours a day, that we're a bunch of ragtag miscreants who want to normalize lawlessness. I resent that to my core. I have fought for rights for these people in this town for over 20 years, standing right here without ever having the position of being on the council, but trying to make some kind of an influence. And I guarantee you, we don't fit into this. But this is a person's company that you have paid a bunch of money to put cameras around our town. And if you want to know how most normal people feel about it, when they look up and they finally realize they're staring at a camera that just took their picture, and they find another one down the street, and they find some more, and they finally realize they're all over town. They're watching me everywhere I go. They either get told, throw their hands in the air, can't do anything about it, get mad, and realize still can't do anything about it, even if they are mad, and can't do anything. Well, they can, and apparently some of them are, and I'm proud of these people who are making the rest of the population of Ridgecrest aware of this. I sure hope you guys are actually listening and thinking about this. Every time I pass one and I realize, oh, I just got recorded again, on the record for another 30 days. It just disgusts me. And we don't have so much crime in this town that we have to be under the electronic eye every day, all day. If we want to move around town and not sneak around and take those circuitous routes to get around the cameras like we're hiding from something. And that's where we are now. So just to let you know, systems like this disgust me, and they kick at the roots of our constitutional leaders from the founding of this country who didn't want to be looked at continuously so to make sure they stayed in line.
Thank you.
Sue Whitey, and I live in Ridgecrest. And what I'd like to say is that the audio, when it comes from your meetings, when it comes into our homes on our TVs, and I have 4, I've checked every one of them. I have to sometimes turn it up to like 74 to hear to hear all of you. Now, when you got Mike McKinney in there, I mean, then it'll blow me out of my living room. But it's very frustrating. It's been happening for 6 months. So maybe be aware when you speak into the microphone to speak into the microphone. But I notice when some people get a little nervous, they talk like this, you can't hear them, and we need to hear this. I watch every city council meeting and every groundwater authority meeting, and I'd like to be able to, if I'm going to sit down and watch them, I'd like to be able to hear them. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other persons wishing to address? Someone online or on the phone? Go ahead, caller.
Yes, my name is Mike Sonner. I'm calling, first I'll just say good job to the people that are trying to get rid of the cameras. That's one of the reasons I didn't like being in Ridgecrest, but it wasn't the most important reason. What I'm calling about is the announcement that maybe you haven't heard about, that Searles Valley Minerals is laying off a substantial number of their employees. We don't know how many, but it will probably be over half of their 700 employees. The CEO of Searles Valley Minerals stated that the reasons were primarily global competition. China's dumping soda ash on the markets, and the cost of energy in California is over half of their operating costs. This is very sad. Searles Valley Minerals and the Trona and the people that work there are all hardworking. They're our neighbors. They were my neighbors. And one of the reasons they cited was the cost of doing business in California and the regulations and the rules. And as you may know, they recently settled with the Groundwater Authority on the replenishment fee, which they wouldn't pay. But they also agreed to consider taking the recycled water from the wastewater treatment plant, which hasn't been built yet. That's not going to happen. The economic conditions in California are the worst in the nation. And the job losses, these were good paying jobs. They had good health insurance. The numbers are going to compound as far as the loss of population, because they're not going to be able to find jobs in Ridgecrest. And I'll tell you right now that if anybody's paying attention, Arizona is rocking when it comes to growth and mining. So I would suggest those people that are now unemployed or will be unemployed start looking in Arizona and perhaps Nevada. This isn't going to change anytime soon. There won't be a rehire. And as you know, China Lake is down from last year. Probably, I'm going to estimate about 400 people. So the problem isn't going away. Now, one of the reasons that the city has been so hell-bent on importing water is because Ron Strand and the former mayor, whose name I won't say, and others think that Ridgecrest is going to grow. It's going to double in size. That's not going to happen. And unfortunately, there's going to be more loss of jobs on the base this year. There's still a hiring freeze. I estimate that last year it was 400, and it will be probably another 400 this year. Maybe not, but you can't count on it. Quality of life will be a continual problem. Quality of life is partly a kind of a misnomer. A pool isn't going to help. Cost of living is part of quality of life. And the cost of living is going up. Energy costs, gas, electricity, etc. So anyway, I am very sad to see this happen, and I hope that that Ridgecrest can get through this without some serious pain. And I wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right, any other persons wishing to comment on items not on the agenda? All right, seeing none, move on to council announcements and direction. Any members of the council have any announcements or direction? I know he's the one that.
It's always something with this guy. I don't have anything.
So I will reiterate, we do have the town hall this Saturday, 9 to 11. And basketball season at the Kurt McGee is in full swing. Really do encourage you all to come out and support those kids on Friday nights and Saturdays. All right, we will move on to the consent calendar. All items listed on consent are considered to be routine and non-controversial by city staff. Consent items may be approved by one motion if no member of the council or audience wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is desired by anyone, the item will be removed from the consent calendar and will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the city council concerning the item before action is taken. There are 2 consent items listed on the posted agenda. Does any member of the council wish to have an item pulled? Does any member of the public wish to have an item pulled? All right, seeing none, if we can have a roll call. A motion, can we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Now can we have a roll call?
Mayor Endicott,
Aye.
Mr. Blades,
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Gorman.
Aye.
We have 4 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries.
Next, we'll move on to discussion or action items, approval of an at-will employment agreement for professional services for city manager with Travis Reed.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Council Member. The item is before you, consistent with your direction provided at the conclusion of the last closed session, where you've offered an employment position to Mr. Reed as the next city manager. The contract has been prepared and is here for your confirmation and vote. Law requires us to announce the salary. The proposed salary is $237,000 a year. And in other ways, the contract basically mirrors, very similar to the contract that Mr. Strand had. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer them.
Okay, are there any council comments or questions?
No questions. I read through at length, and I think it all checks out. It's a basic contract. I actually think, Mr. Reed, I appreciate you serving. So Rick, I just found small, tiny little typos. Like it was almost nothing. So I can just point those out to you if that's, yeah, here. And we don't have to do that, but I'll tell Rick what I have, but that's as far as
That's me, not
common.
her. That'd be my fault, not hers.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's like this, like there's a Y missing from city. There's like some little tiny stuff that,
Nothing substantial.
nope, nothing contractually or nothing substantial.
Thank you.
And I'll reserve a few questions towards the end.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments or questions? No? You want to say yours before we? answer?
No, go to public.
All right.
It's fine.
Is there any members of the public that have comment or question on this? Seeing none, we'll wait on Councilman Blades to ask his final questions.
It looks like there was a city, so at some point there was a 5-year, then a reevaluation. So usually we do that once a year. Why is that language in there?
I think that's just a re-up of the contract in 5 years, not an evaluation. What
Okay.
section are you looking at? Sorry, I should be in the speaker.
Number 1, A.
Yeah, that just is the contract is up for renewal in 5 years. It doesn't mean that his review is 5 years. You'd still do an annual review.
Number 9B.
It's the amount that's negotiated in the contract. It's not the same.
No further questions.
Okay. Then do I have a motion for this item?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. If I can get a roll call.
Mayor Endicott?
Aye.
Mr. Blades?
Aye.
Mr. Heyman?
Aye.
Mr. Gorman?
Aye.
We have 4 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries. Please indulge me for a second. You're official.
It's one of those Apple tags in case you get.
He just lives here now, Martin. There's no need for an air tag.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rico.
All right, moving on to item number 6, resolution to approve a surplus police vehicle donation agreement between the city of Ridgecrest and the Friends of the Fair. Chief?
Mr. Eason.
Looking sharp, sir.
He's gonna go all the way over there.
It's easier. This donation is made through the Friends of the Fair. Essentially, every year, there's a group that donates a car and puts that money towards somebody in need or organization in need in our community. The car is useless to us. It's an old Crown Victoria. We might get a couple $100s at auction. We thought it best just to auction that car off to the Friends of the Fair so that they could make it available for that donation process. Last year, I think they donated $8,000 to some people that were involved in a bad crash. This will be their 3rd year doing it. We saw no opposition to a vehicle that will bring us, next to nothing, but it would be a significant contribution to an organization in our community. They have not yet determined the charity or cause for this year, but historically, it's been things that are important to the community.
What year is this Crown Vic?
99.
1999, I think.
Did Ron Strand drive this Crown Vic?
That's why the tires are bald.
Ron drove it.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to take a shot at Ron.
Any other comments, questions? I mean, I guess overall, for the vehicle, is it in good running condition? I mean, what, okay,
It's not satisfactory for police work anymore.
Sure.
You know, they get old. We shouldn't get pursuits in cars that are that old. It's sitting at the courtyard. It's out of our fleet. It's not being used. It's been mothballed already. It's just a matter of if we wait for a proper auction where we do other surplus equipment and vehicles, or if we donate it to a cause that will directly impact our community.
All right, any members of the public who have a comment or question, concern? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, roll call.
Mayor Endicott?
Aye.
Mr. Blades?
Aye.
Mr. Heyman?
Aye.
Mr. Gorman?
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries.
All right, next, we will move on to an ordinance, number 7, or item number 7, adoption of a resolution and introduction and first reading of an ordinance amending the Ridgecrest Municipal Code to clarify that any term of service on the council that is more than 2 years counts as a full term for purposes of term limits, and to change mayoral term from 2 to 4 years, and placing the measures on the election ballot for June 2nd, 2026 election.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Councilmember. We are bringing this item before you. You have adopted a resolution on consent, which would authorize the clerk to call the county for a consolidated election to put this measure, those 2 measures on the ballot. This is the item which actually will take action on it. As some of you may know, we had an issue regarding Councilmember or Vice Mayor Blades pulling papers to run because he was unable to finish his term, technically speaking, under the code, which provides for 8 years. The city was not able to stop him from pulling papers. The court confirmed that in an action. We've discussed this in various settings, and staff would recommend that this ballot measure is put before the voters to clarify the ambiguity and simply change the 8 consecutive years to 2 consecutive terms, and provide that anybody who's been appointed for longer than 2 years is deemed to have served the first term. In other words, if a council member, if the council appoints somebody and because of the way the dates break out, that person serves longer than 2 calendar years, even by 1 day, that's a full term. So they are only eligible under this to run 1 more time for another term consecutively. I do have some cleanup language on the ballot measure, which I'll discuss in a second, which will be applicable to both the item that was in consent and this one if you approve it. The other issue that we're putting before you is consideration to put a ballot measure before the voters to make the mayor's term a 4-year term. There are various reasons why, at least based on my experience and talking with prior city manager, the 2-year term does not provide the mayor a full ability to affect, put their imprint on the city and do what the voters elected them to do. It also has the council changing potentially 3 seats every 2 years. So the consideration for you today is whether or not we should ask the voters if they would like to have a 4-year term mayor, just like all the other council members. So those are the 2 items before you. The cleanup language, which I apologize for, after looking at it one more time, I think I want to really make it very clear. So the first ballot measure dealing with the terms would read, and we're just adding a little bit clarity. In order to correct an ambiguity, shall the City of Ridgecrest Municipal Code be amended to, and here's where we put in, change term limits from 8 consecutive years to 2 terms, and provide for purposes of term limits that any council member appointed to a partial term of more than 2 years shall be deemed to have served a full term for the purposes of determining term limits. So we're adding a little bit more language just to clarify. We're changing the 8 years, which is currently, because currently the code provides for 8 consecutive years. We're changing that to 2 consecutive terms. And then defining as 1 term any term of service that's longer than 365 days. Twice, yeah. 730, 740 days, actually, I think. Yeah, something like that.
I was once told by a test pilot, never do math in public.
Yes, I know. I didn't go to law school to do math, so. I answer any questions you may have. Affirmative vote will move forward with the ordinance. If either of the measures or both measures pass, we'll bring the ordinance back for confirmation, but basically the ordinance will make those effective changes to the municipal code. Also, the item that was on consent, the language, if approved by the council, will be amended in that item as well, which you've already taken action on. With that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Any council members have any questions, comments? Okay, so I have comments. I think that the way that the code is currently stated, I think it was a good first attempt, but with the appointment, I think that's where we're trying to rectify that issue, right? Because if we keep the language as it is, the problem is that when Councilman Blades would term out, then we would then just be stuck in a forever loop of an appointment counting as a full term, and we would always have to be appointing someone instead of letting the public pick who it is that's going. I have my own issues with term limits in general. That's just my background as a political scientist and the research that shows that term limits don't work. I understand the move, why individuals want term limits, but there is countless number of research articles and data that shows that when we have term limits in place, one of the major problems that comes with it is you have a lack of number of individuals who are actually running for office anyway. So you're trying to constrain the pool that you already have. Again, I'm not saying that we have to get rid of term limits. I'm just personally, as an academic, I know that term limits don't work. If you go back to the 1990s when Newt Gingrich was trying to get them passed throughout the entire country, notably, Congress didn't approve them for a reason. I mean, that's basically, they wouldn't cut their own nose off to spite their face. They wanted to continue to be running and running and running, and that's why we have geriatrics, no offense, in public office in Washington, D.C. But from 1990 to today, we have plenty of examples of states who have adopted term limits, who have then revoked those term limits because they found that the quality of candidate that they were getting was subpar. And generally, if you're term limited as a politician and your sole goal is to be reelected, you stop doing stuff for the purpose of you getting reelected. So it's a twofer that you actually end up losing out. So I have my own, if anyone wants to talk to me afterwards about term limits, I can provide you a bevy of term limit research, scholarly research that you can look at. But I do want to commend Mr. Wicknick on putting it in the first place and getting the public to approve it. I see this as an opportunity that we have found a problem, an issue, and we're trying to correct it. And it's up to the voters to decide if we approve it, whether or not it goes into an effect. And so ultimately, it will be up to the voters whether or not they want to change how we view appointments in our code. I also, as only 1 year on the job, I know that having only 2 years is daunting. And the potential, if you have 4-year term, maybe you can have more individuals running for mayor so that you're not continually spending 18 months doing the job and then another 6 trying to get back on the job. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Mary. And if I may add, just so the public, in case there is any confusion, we are absolutely not changing the length that any council member can serve on the council. We're just basically changing the current 8 years, which the voters approved, and calling that 2 terms, 2 4-year terms.
Correct.
So the length of service under this revision, if approved by the voters, is still going to be 2 terms. It'll be 8 years or less if somebody is appointed for more than 2 years. Right. Thank you.
So a minimum of 6. Okay.
I have some closing comments after we hear from the public.
Okay.
Since this directly affected me.
Okay. So with that, I will open up to the public. If the public has any comments.
If y'all wouldn't mind pulling the mic directly to you when you talk, that way people out in the public can hear. Thank you.
I'm Lorraine Horney. I'm unclear, if you could just clarify. The problem is you have to appoint people now?
So the problem was that someone was appointed.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess I can actually throw that context in. So in December of 2019, there was an issue with a candidate who was already on the council who should not have been on the council.
Okay.
So he had to, what's that?
I was just asking to pause the time.
Oh, so he had to step down. I was on the planning commission at the time. I was encouraged to throw my hat in the ring. Never would I thought I would have been the guy who chose to be appointed, but I was. I was grateful to take the seat. But what happened is once I was appointed, once I ran for my first election, the then city lawyer was like, hey, when time comes up, this might be a question. So then we started looking into what do other communities do? Like, how do they handle appointments? Right. Well, what they do is like, if you're appointed, it doesn't matter if it's for half of the time, like over half of the time, well, you own it, basically. That's your term because that's over half of. If it's less than half, you're just finishing out the other person's term. But that's not how, because of our ordinance, that's not how ours is written, and that's fair. That's ordinance is an ordinance. So I asked the staff and talked to the staff like, hey, this is something that needs to be fixed, because what's going to happen is just going to continue to discourage people from wanting to do, like, why would you want to run, like keep running and running if you're just going to be cut short by that much time? So that's how this issue came up. Okay. Which it does happen when people have to step down off the council it could be medical, like in the case of Mike Mauer. There's been cases where people have to step down and the council needs to appoint somebody. In that case, you don't want that just counting against them because they stood up to volunteer to do some time.
So what would that look like if somebody had to get appointed because somebody stepped down?
Mm-hmm.
Would they, am I understanding you, they would finish that term?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you'd be eligible for the 4-year?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So it's like
4 years?
Yeah, so if that person had lasted for most of that term, so over the 2-year mark. Okay. And then you got appointed as a citizen to fulfill that, well, then you're just finishing out their term. Okay. But if it's early on, if they get elected and they have to step down and then somebody gets appointed, well, that's their term. Unfortunate for them, but that's the way it is.
Okay. Yeah. Is there a cost to the taxpayers to do this?
I would say anytime you put something on the ballot.
There is a cost to that the city would pay to the county. I believe it's $6,000 for a ballot.
It's more than that.
It is
but
more than that.
It's because we have to pay for the consolidation costs also to
Okay.
be on the ballot, which is already going to be June 2nd. We're already going to have a ballot anyway
Yeah, okay.
because of the primary election.
So tonight, if you guys all say aye, we still get to vote, right?
Absolutely. All we're
Okay.
doing is putting it in front of the voters.
Okay.
And
That's what I
just
wanted to know.
to dovetail to, if I may, Mayor, what Vice Mayor said. If the change doesn't take place, then your term would be unfinished because the 8-year limit would kick into effect. He steps down, now all of a sudden, council has to appoint somebody else to finish the term, and they're back in the same position.
I see.
So that's what the mayor was talking about perpetuating the issue.
Okay, I think I've got it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Tom Wicknick, the author of the original bill or initiative. Anyway, first of all, who initiated this to go on the agenda? Hello?
Yeah,
Chris?
yeah.
Huh?
Staff?
Staff did? And why did staff initiate this to be on the agenda? I mean, the topic?
To fix the issue that exists.
Why would staff be concerned about how the council and mayor get elected?
Well, you already heard Mr. Blade say that he brought it up as a concern of his and brought it to staff.
Okay, so it was initiated by Mr. Blades then?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're getting at, Mr. Wicknick.
I just want to know, did this thing come out of the sky and all of a sudden, hey, let's put this on the agenda? Or no, somebody said, you know what, we got to do something about this.
Yeah, I said we got to do something about that.
Okay, and then you went to who to put it on the agenda?
I'm sorry, I'm not going to reveal privileged communications in a public setting. This isn't a question and answer period anyway.
It's not? Since when is an agenda item not a question and answer session?
It's a public comment. Sir, you're welcome to comment for 5 minutes on anything you like regarding this item.
And I can't answer a question and expect it to be answered? Is that what you're telling me?
That's up to the mayor, sir.
I would hope the mayor is conducive to answering questions from the public when they're asked. Anyway, first of all, there's no problem with the current initiative. You're making a problem out of the current initiative. You're making a problem that doesn't exist. 8 years was done on purpose. It was done with me, an attorney that specialized in initiatives on term limits, with coordination with Keith Lemieux, who was the city attorney at the time, and with legal staff at Kern County that ran the elections. So this was not done haphazard. It was modeled after other cities that also have term limits based on years of time served, not terms. So this idea of coming back and saying, well, let's just change the 8 years to terms, this is nothing more than trying to reset it and change it so that somebody can spend more time on the council. Because under your idea, just cleanly, somebody could serve almost 10 years by what you're proposing, just from scratch one. If they're appointed for 2 years or less, then they could get elected for 4 and run elected for 4 more. So they could run for 10 years. And you know, last time I checked, I know when I sat on the council, I never had the feeling that I was so important that the city would die if I wasn't sitting up there. Well, entrenched politicians, that's why we have term limits, Mayor. Because some get in there and they just don't want to leave, and then wind up with some that don't attend. Now, we don't have that here, that side of it. But we're in a situation where there is no problem with the way it is. Now, changing the mayor from 2 to 4, I don't care about that. It was just done that way because it was required by the election code to put it to the electorate that way. But as far as changing the 8 years, you know, the thing is, all term limits asks is to take a leave for 2 years. 2 years. That's all it says. It says you're not gone forever. take a 2-year break and let some new blood get in there, maybe. Somebody with some new ideas, some new thoughts. Why do you fear that you have to have somebody up there for 10 years at least? What's the problem? I just heard somebody say power in the back. Okay? Well, let somebody else have a shot sometimes. And I'm not talking on my behalf. I've had my turns up there twice. Okay? But just because you're an incumbent, you always have an advantage in response to your talk about we don't need term limits, Mr. Mayor.
I'm just saying the academic scholarship says that they don't work.
Okay? Well, that's your opinion and you're entitled to it. Okay?
I never did the studies.
Anyway, I'm going to say that we will fight this. 75% of the people approved the original term limits when it got approved. And I don't know what it will be when if you get it on the ballot. But you know what? We don't need to change this. Leave it alone. There's not a problem. And I would hope, Mr. Mayor, that you have the courtesy that as the comments go on, if there's any more comments, if my name or my work is referred to in the discussion as we continue here, that I have the right to come up here and respond to anything that is referred to me or to the initiative this initiative process. I reserve that right to come up here, not to be told to speak and sit down like the city attorney said. That's not what city government is for. It's for open discussion.
Thank you, Tom.
Let's get the simpler issue out of the way. The change, or the current term of the mayor, 2 years. What that simply ends up meaning is every election, the people of this city have a chance to get rid of 3 of you. I like that idea because there's been a lot of councils up here. The most I could hope for some of the council members that we got rid of them, got them out. Well, term limits does that. Incumbency tends to help people get reelected. At the time the first term limits law was put in place, we had members that sat on council for 12 years. So let's talk about the terms. And something your well-schooled city attorney seemed to skip over when he was talking about this. If you got the info in front of you, it's going to be in section 2E. What does that say? Any sitting mayor or member of the city council already in office at the time of the adoption of limitations discussed in subsection C, D, and F, or elected at any election concurrent with adoption of limitations described in C, D, and F, catch this, pay attention, shall be considered to be in their first 4-year term for the purpose of computing terms of consecutive service. He didn't talk about that, did he? You know why? Because that's a little magician parlor trick being slipped into the voters in this country, in this city, to let numerous of you guys serve 4 more years when you should have been kicked out by the term limits. Why else would you put that in there? That's a dirty trick. To quote a character in one of my favorite movies, it stinks. And yet you're trying to put this over on us and tell us there's problems with the term limits. I've never seen any problem with the term limits. And we had this one situation with Mr. Blades who wanted to serve, and even though we knew he couldn't serve but 3 years, so we did it anyway. Should have had the integrity not to run, but he did. And now here we are, and we get your little weasel wording lawyer slip in things like section 2E. It's not gonna work. Every one of you that votes to approve this and put it on the ballot, I'm gonna make sure that I tell everybody I know not to vote for you. Because this flies in the face of an initiative law which took a ton of work and quite a bit of expense by the individual who headed up the effort to ever get it in place, because the 12-year serving council members at the time fought it tooth and nail, along with their city lawyer, whose job is to do what the city wants to happen and justify it. Well, they weren't able to fight it off because Mr. Wignish wouldn't give it up. And I applaud Mr. Wignish on this for getting it in place in the first place. And we need to leave it alone. It's just that simple. I don't know why you guys bring this stuff up and try to foist this stuff off on people like this. It just turns my stomach.
I got a comment directly. I got a comment directly back to that. If you're going to question my integrity, Mike, I don't need your response. I'll tell you why. I watched you walk up to this podium for years now, 6 years now, Mike, and you twist yourself in pretzels to justify whatever means you're trying to get at. Over and this isn't a back and forth, Mike.
Mr. Mayor, you're going to let your member just sit here and personally attack me?
I'm not done.
The issue?
I'm not done.
I don't care if you are done.
So
what you're saying is wrong, boy.
You question my integrity.
I do.
You do. And I'll tell you what, Mike, the problem is that you consistently come up to that podium and you present stuff that's completely and utterly disingenuous. It's the same way.
Yeah, right.
It's the same way that Mr. Wicknick just came up and presented it. You're acting like there isn't a problem. We see the problem right now. We see it right now.
Okay. You see
and
it.
I'll tell
I
you,
don't
no,
see
I'm
it.
not. I'm not done. No. And I'll tell you why I ran. I ran because the voters asked me to, and I told everybody and anybody who would listen to me, "Hey, you do know, right? You do know there's an issue.
A small issue.
Yeah, you do
No
know there's
big
an issue,"
deal.
and I told everybody. So Mike, this coming up here and acting like you're just the most enormous champion for the city of Ridgecrest, like you've done nothing but fight. Dude, it is so exhausting for me to sit here for 6 years and listen to it. And then especially, I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to happily let this go. But for you to question my integrity, you deserve to have something.
So you can handle big old bad Mike Neal. Boy, he's so hard to deal with, isn't he?
I sleep well at night because I do what I say I'm going to do.
Okay, let's move on.
Doesn't have everything to do with the issue, does it?
Has everything to do.
How you
It has
sleep.
everything to do with the issue.
Really?
We're sitting here, and this is going to be over and over and over again. Over and over, somebody's going to have to be appointed. This needs to be
Right.
fixed. It's needed to be
Sure.
fixed for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over. See, this is the funny baloney language you guys.
No,
put-
and I'll
put
tell you.
out to
I'll tell you
fool
another thing
people.
that I trust.
We're not going for it.
And I
That's all
trust
there is to it. That's all I have to
implicitly.
say.
Implicitly, I trust. I trust the will of the voter. If you can't trust the will of the voter, that says a whole lot more about you than it does me.
And Mayor, if I may, subsection E, I believe was put in by Mr. Wicknick. We did not change that.
Okay. All right. Are there any other members of the public that wish to comment?
Alex Gross, I've got a slight clarification I'd like to get done now before I see it on the internet just incorrectly. If this motion is passed in June, would that mean that our current mayor would have to run again in November if it is passed?
My original term was 2 years. I will run in this November.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other members of the public wish to comment? The light is green. Is there someone on the phone? I can't see him. Okay.
Hello, this
Hello.
is Mike Sinop.
Go ahead.
What I just witnessed with Kyle Blades was disgraceful. Kyle's a drama queen. And maybe he should be reminded when it comes to credibility and integrity, what he did back in May and June, signing a letter misrepresenting the city position on SB 1413. And then using a bogus argument to squash any discussion, public agenda item on that topic. So I just can't stand watching this guy come in and think he knows it all. He knows about how to run a hospital. He thinks he knows how to organize a pipeline project, and he thinks he knows what's best for the city of Ridgecrest. He doesn't. So, what a disgrace. That's enough. Thank you.
All right, thank you. One of the joys of being a public official is that you get the attacks. And that comes with the territory.
I actually, so to respond back to that.
Okay.
Am I allowed to talk about those Senate bills? Right, because let me tell you, I would love it.
You are, if the mayor permits, you're certainly allowed to respond to the comment. I would caution you about disclosing any discussions that took place in closed session regarding the item that was mentioned.
All right. Any other members of the public wish to comment or attack Councilman Blades? Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
I'm still Sue Whitey from Ridgecrest. Hello. Well, I think that this little tit for tat that we just heard, it really is going to discourage more people from coming and getting involved in city council meetings, because that shouldn't happen. Don't worry, I'm not going to be that long. You know, because that's what we need to do. We need to get people involved in what's going on in our city. And like it or not, Mike Neal, he takes his time to come here. And he takes his time to get up at this podium, you know, and maybe some people should realize that you guys work for us. You know, there shouldn't be that kind of exchange. You should be happy that somebody cares enough to come up here. So that's what I think. And about the language of that resolution, I think that when you say term limits, maybe you could say one term is 4 years, because I didn't see it in there when I read the whole thing. I said you just change it to term limits, 2 terms. But can you maybe say how long a term is? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other members of the public wish to comment? All right. Do I have a motion to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest, California, calling for the general municipal election to be held on Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026, for the submission to the voters a question relating to local ballot measure clarifying and resetting the terms of office for council members and resetting and changing the term of elected mayor?
Thank you. With the comment we just received, just to clarify, the measure in question, the mayoral measure is as is. The measure in question would read now as follows. In order to correct an ambiguity, shall the City of Ridgecrest Municipal Code be amended to change term limits from 8 consecutive years to 2 4-year terms, and provide, for purposes of term limits, that any council member appointed to a partial term of more than 2 years shall be deemed to have served a full term for the purposes of determining the term limits.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Endicott,
Aye.
Mr. Blades,
Aye.
Mr. Heyman,
Aye.
Mr. Gorman.
Aye.
We have 4 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries.
All right, next we have a motion to introduce an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest, amending the Ridgecrest Municipal Code to provide for 4-year term for an elected mayor, set term limits at 2 terms, and clarifying a term calculation for an appointed council member.
With the same changes, this ordinance would simply codify the change if the voters approve it, one or the other or both.
So moved. Second.
Mayor Endicott?
Aye.
Mr. Blades?
Aye.
Mr. Heyman?
Aye.
Mr. Gorman?
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries.
Next, we have a motion to waive reading in full of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest amending the Ridgecrest Municipal Code to provide the 4-year term for an elected mayor, set term limits at 2 terms, and clarifying a term calculation for an appointed council member.
So moved.
Given the same criteria.
With the same amendments as the last one that we
Yes.
made, this is just to waive the reading in full.
Okay,
Thank you.
so I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mayor Endicott?
Aye.
Mr. Blades?
Aye.
Mr. Heyman?
Aye.
Mr. Gorman?
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 absent, motion carries.
All right, we will move on to committee reports. First, we have the Economic Development Committee. Was a report from February 2nd, 2026. Councilman Blades?
Yeah, I'm looking for my notes right now. So I thought I had them on my phone. They are not there. Just one moment. Well, we canceled.
Council infrastructure. and then
We
moved
canceled,
it.
and we had to cancel infrastructure and move that. And
So that would have been,
yeah, that's why I don't have my notes here.
Just move on to finance and
Yes.
let me look it up, please.
So
Thank you.
even if on the economic front, I don't believe we met, but even on the economic front, there hasn't been a whole lot of movement on anything. The only thing anybody's excited about is the pool.
Finance Committee, the next meeting will be February 10th, 2026 at 5:30 in City Hall Conference Room B. The Infrastructure Committee, like I said, we had to cancel the January 22nd meeting and we redid it on January 29th. Councilman Blades, do you have the notes from that?
For infrastructure?
Yes.
Yes.
I know we had the,
While he's looking for that, I will tell you that the economic development was canceled late. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, so actually, we considered one item. We got a pretty good brief out during infrastructure that was talking about, it was GPS data that vehicles, so all vehicles, at least like in the 2020s and newer, bring down a GPS signal and they can show you traffic patterns and heat maps, things like that. Public Works Department was pitching the idea up in the air on whether or not it would be a good idea to do. Ultimately, the committee decided it wasn't a good idea, so that one went on about its merry way. And we had
water treatment.
we did get a brief on the water treatment plant, talking about the percentage. Travis, do you want to talk about the water treatment plant?
Yeah, the wastewater treatment plant.
Really just, I don't remember I know that we were moving at a different phase of permit. Was in the plans, where we were at with the plans.
So the plans are pretty much ready. We are, with the exception of some environmental documents, we are pretty much ready to go to bid. We have one phase of power that we're waiting for a final design for the interconnect with the Navy due to some of the earthquake damage and a need to change power sources. And we are applying for a state revolving fund loan so we can make sure that we can build this project at the lowest possible rate for all the citizens.
All right. Next, Parks, Rec, Quality of Life, our meeting will actually be the 11th of next week.
That is correct.
Is it
The 17th, we have a problem.
We have the
Yeah.
17th, we have a problem, so it's.
The 17th, we have a
I have a
conflict.
problem on the 17th.
Yes.
Yes, and so do I.
Oh,
Mayor brought it to my attention, so.
Thank you.
We have talked to Quality of Life, to Parks and Rec, and they will be canceling that meeting and reposting it for the 11th.
so we'll be on the 11th.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Next Wednesday.
I was in the process of solving that problem, but you guys are a step ahead, so that is fantastic. Thank you very much for your.
So if you guys have something big you want to discuss, I mean, I'm sure Skip and I could.
That's where I was gonna go with it, and,
We just got it moved so that we can attend.
It's up to you guys.
but, appreciate the
Yeah.
offer to step in and fill in for us and,
Anytime.
but,
All right, so we will have that report next time. All right, we'll move on to other committees, boards, or commissions. You have Curtin Cog?
He looks at me when he says that.
I know.
I'm glad it's not me anymore.
I traveled to Adelanto. I traveled south. I'm so pleased. I haven't done this. I traveled south to Adelanto a few days ago, and Friday actually, and attended the League of California Cities Mountain Desert Division. I'd like to see a map of how the entire League of California Cities gets broken up into divisions, but I think that the Desert Mountain Division, the one that I attend, is the largest. It stretches from Bishop down to 29 Palms and has a lot of cities with a lot of individual problems and gripes they want to bring up in these meetings. But the charming thing about this last Friday's meeting was, because it was in Adelanto and not in their almost spiffy city hall, it was in that baseball stadium you see as you drive by on US 395. It's a sort of deserted place. It doesn't do baseball anymore. Sometimes the kids get in there and do soccer. I took some pictures because it's like that sad song Frank Sinatra sings. There used to be a ballpark there. And nose through the music part of the internet and find that song. It should make you get a little misty. But the individuals who came to this particular meeting wanted all to talk at once about a whole bunch of different things. The thing that got most of the time was Joshua Tree problem. Did you know we had a Joshua Tree problem? Again, nose through the internet and ask whatever AI you deal with, what's California's Joshua Tree problem? Well, there's some laws that were passed regarding caring for and not damaging Joshua trees, which, by the way, were first seen and written about by the Lewis and Clark expedition, and either Lewis or Clark, who was doing the writing, said that was the most ugly tree on God's green earth. I find them sort of pretty myself. But the problem is, if you buy some property or try to with a Joshua tree or a few Joshua trees on them, you are in bad luck if you want to develop that property, because you're talking like $32,000 to relocate that Joshua tree or build around it if you can build something at a 50-foot radius of the tree. And it's strangling development in several communities south of here. I don't think Ridgecrest has much of a Joshua tree problem. Joshua trees don't flourish out here because, well, it's not a Joshua tree area, but some folks are in a Joshua tree area, and their situation is sad enough for a whole bunch of people to stand up and holler about it at this meeting. They hollered about a whole bunch of other Assembly bills and Senate bills that are either on their way or just recently passed. The foe of the poor souls from different little cities, much smaller than Ridgecrest, at this particular meeting seems to be the politicians at state level who pass unendurable laws. Yeah, they're still out there. There's a mileage tax coming, and you can't hardly even duck because it's going to happen. And when it does, those of us who drive are going to have to pay an awful lot of money. And just finishing this up, I didn't know there was a nitrous oxide problem, but apparently there is. I remember the old movie, which was a play, The Little Shop of Horrors, has a scene in a dentist's office, and nitrous oxide is a key element in somebody's death. Okay, that's all I got to say.
Do you mean like we have a lack of nitrous oxide? Is that the problem?
It's become a recreational thing.
Oh, all right, yep. Said no.
Thank you for your report there, Councilman Gorman. Did they happen to talk any on the with the Joshua trees, that if you have property that's within a certain distance of, say, like a preserve or a Joshua Tree National Park, that there's, I don't quote me on this, but I read that in the news that it was there was even limitations there if you're within, like, I believe it was even like certain miles from that preserve, that you were constrained by some of these environmental. Yeah, so it's pretty tough.
I don't remember the details. That's why I say nose through the internet and you're in for a shock. Apparently whoever wrote the laws that protects Joshua trees did not know restraint.
Yeah, Skip, when I was on the league, they were actually having issues with developers just bowling them over and paying the fine because it was so prohibitive and such an issue to get them replanted. That was, it's been an ongoing problem for a while.
Any other committees, boards, or commissions? I had LAFCO on the same night and time as the infrastructure committee, so I was trying to do both. It was interesting. There were, again, with land annexation, it's just interesting the level of detail, the level of I don't know, when these packets are put forth and you get to see the amount of individuals who are impacted by the decision of Kern LAFCO with Bakersfield, it seems to be the most frequent, I don't know, issue coming up. But I do find it interesting that they're looking for, there's another commissioner on the committee that, you know, she's continually questioned the, I don't know, the legality of just emailing notices and instead of actually making sure everyone that will be affected is actually informed. And, you know, it's just weighed on me since then that, you know, surely there's a better way that the government who has the resources to try and make sure that people who are affected of issues have a better chance of being informed. We tend to think that if we can just put something out on the internet or social media or something, that people will then be informed. But I fear that we're missing a large percentage of the population when we do that, just through LAFCO, that is. So, I don't know, that was what I really took away from LAFCO. Anything else? Council members, no? Sorry for my musing. City manager report. By the way, welcome, city manager, other Travis.
Thank you. Just one quick comment. There are stakes up at the pool. I haven't heard the latest and greatest. I know Terry had a meeting about when they're actually going to be here to grade, but I know it got delayed just a hair, but we have survey stakes, so we have made our first step towards tearing into the ground. And secondly, there was an incident last night on the 1000 block of South Mahan where a shot was fired at PD. And I think our police department did an absolute excellent job to make sure that there was no bystanders that were hurt, including the subject that shot at them. So I think they deserve some praise for that. And at least to know that there was absolutely no loss of life. So that is all.
Okay. Next to future agenda items. Are there any items council wants on future agendas? Seeing none, we'll go to mayor and council comments. Skip, do you want to lead us off and set the bar high?
I'll position the bar very low. To the lady who spoke earlier about not being able to hear what's being said here, especially if you're watching online, I suffered through that for a long time too. These fussy microphones are like lasers. Unless they're right close to your mouth and pointing right at your mouth, the people online don't hear you. And the poor souls at the far ends who lean way over to speak to the people over there, they're not picked up very well. And not everybody knows to point that puppy right at your mouth. I'm going to start fussing with our new city manager about getting us better microphones that'll pick you up no matter where you're looking. I think that technology probably exists, and I'm ready for it.
Councilman Heyman or Councilman Blades, any comments?
Welcome, Travis Reed, to your new position. We greatly appreciate you. And again, thank you to Chief and the Ridgecrest Police Department for their very well done effort last night in resolving the threat that they were up against, and the outcome of it ended very well for all. So thank you to the PD for keeping us safe, and that's it.
Councilman Blades?
Same, I just want to reiterate, I appreciate it, Chief. I know that you just recently have a fully staffed up PD. And I know that you're doing a lot of work towards getting the PD technologically advanced, getting things. The police department has come such a long way just since you showed up and was already working towards that. As you came, you have helped pushed it in a positive direction. And I think it's great for the community to see how well the PD responds to things, even such as this. And a situation that could have been worse was handled and neutralized. And I appreciate that, sir. And welcome, Mr. Reed. Pleasure to have you.
Okay. All right. Want to start off with noting that it was on this day in 1924 we actually had our first Winter Olympics. It was held in France. And seeing as we're about, I don't know if anyone is a fan of the Olympics. I'm not really a fan of the Winter Olympics as a whole, but I can sit down and watch curling for hours on end. I don't know what it is about that sport, but I absolutely love it. I don't think that I could do well with it, but I love watching them and critiquing them, even though I've never done it and probably will never. But Winter Olympics are coming up. It's really a good time to, have that sense of nationalistic pride in the members of our Olympic community who are going and representing us in Italy this year. Lastly, I want to just talk about how proud I am of this city. I get to meet and talk with a lot of different people. I get to hear all the good things that different organizations are doing, different people are doing to step up and to make a difference. I also want to thank the individuals who come here. Again, I say this time and time again, but it takes a lot to stand up and do public speaking. I think I've mentioned it before, but the greatest fear that most people have is public speaking. Second is death. So more people would much rather die than public speak. So getting up in front of people and expressing your beliefs and your opinions, it takes a lot of courage. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate individuals holding our feet to the fire, making sure that we're doing what you think is right. And we hear what you have to say, whether or not you live in the city or you live out of state and call in. We listen. And so I just wanted to, again, thank you all for attending and for being here and helping this city grow. So with that, we will adjourn, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you.